years late in being built. Oxford University and Thames Valley Police are millions of pounds over budget. And yet we are still here, and we are still fighting them every step of the way. Now as we stand here marking another World Day for lab animals, I can promise you this. Speak is as focused and as determined as ever to continue fighting for all those animals imprisoned inside the laboratories.
There's one thing that animal researchers fear more than the ALF. Do you know what that is? The truth. It's another scientist. Okay? They say that it takes a thief to catch a thief. Well, it takes a scientist to catch out another scientist. We want good science. Good science consists of three things. First of all, it must be species specific. You don't test things on dogs or cats, for heaven's sake. So it must be species specific. Secondly, it must do no harm. And thirdly, it must be evidence-based. Now, animal testing fails on all three counts. 50 miles away from here, just 50 miles, at a place called Aston University, there are scientists and researchers studying the human brain, non-invasively. So it's species-specific, it's not hurting anybody, and it's certainly evidence-based. So one has to answer the question, if the law, if the Scientific Procedures Act says that if you put your data without using an animal, you must do so, then one must answer the question, is Oxford University not breaking the law? I can assure you that this line of investigation is going to be vigorously pursued.
The reason we have to protect Oxford University, the reason we have to support animal torture, is nothing to do with human health. It's nothing to do with curing disease. It is merely to protect the money.
Now, you know well that some of the greatest of Oxford students and professors have spoken against vivisection. I've mentioned them to you. Samuel Johnson, John Henry Newman, John Ruskin, Lewis Carroll, C.S. Lewis, and many others. In fact, there's an Oxford petition against vivisection, and I said that speech is part of that petition, and therefore belongs in Oxford. And so I begin by saying to you, not welcome to Oxford, but welcome home to Oxford. Welcome home to Oxford. You may know that Speak was here in this street on Christmas Day. And that's an especially good day to see Speak in Oxford. Not just because laboratory animals do not get holidays, and they need remembering on that day at least as much as every other day, but also because that is the birthday of the man who once and for all time provided an answer to the question, is it all right for the strong to exploit the weak? And the answer which he gave, and which has been given by every feeling and thinking person ever since, is no, no, no! Animals have the same natural rights of life and liberty as ourselves. And for the... Yes. again. And for the same reason, that these rights are the necessary outcome of a capacity to feel pleasure and pain.
Today is the day that Felix died. Nobody held him, nobody cried. He's faceless, just a number, and no tears will fall. For in the lad, he's worth nothing at all. He was taken as a baby, just 2 years old, and put in a cage, trembling and cold. The white-coated technicians turned their back on his pain, and he quickly realised that crying was in vain.
I've got a message here from someone who couldn't be here today, who should be here today, and that's Mel. And this is his message to you. Studying myself writing this has given me even more reason to look to the day when animals are truly given the rights and respect they deserve. The closed world of this prison system, with its doors, bars and cameras, goes on the way to increasing the empathy I feel with the animal victims of Oxford University and other centres of animal abuse. Of course, compared to animals like Felix, I am lucky. Whatever else my incarceration involves, it will not include the daily fear and suffering endured by millions of sentient animals inside institutions like Oxford University. Make no mistake, scientists engaged in using and abusing animals are attempting to break free of any ethical restraints on the abuses they heap on non-consenting animals. They are also engaged in creating an atmosphere in which anyone who questions them or their scientific validity is immediately labelled a fanatic or extremist. This is a party like Oxpens from people who claim to represent scientific truth. I'd like everyone just to turn around and look at that place down there. That isn't going to be a centre of academic excellence. That is all about academic arrogance, greed, and exploitation. There's a very good banner here today. It's just at the front there. And it says, "It is for those with a voice to speak to those who have not got a voice." Animals aren't property. Their lives belong to them and no one else. And we have got to make sure that everybody knows this. And I would just like to share my favourite quote, which is going to be quoted today. And it's a quote from William Wilberforce, who, just over 200 years ago, was responsible to help us to end the slave trade. And I think maybe sometimes when we despair about the apathy and the hostility that we're faced with, maybe we need to think about the fact that just over 200 years ago, human beings were still treated as property. And maybe we need to remember that and think that that's what we need to be fighting for. William Wilberforce said, "If to be feelingly alive to the sufferings of my fellow creatures is to be a fanatic, then I am one of the most incredible fanatics ever permitted to be at large." And I say amen to that.